All right, good evening. So it's another week, and let's see how we can make some progress this week. So it's likely the last part of the lecture last time we couldn't get it. In between, we had network problems. So, but I was feeling sleepy that day, so I couldn't send another link. So I just had to end the class there. Okay, so I started teaching you guys how to draw trend lines. And if you could recall, I said for your trend line to be valid, you have to make sure the candle touches the line. The edge of the candle have to touch the line, the trend line you're drawing, 2 to 3 touches. That will make the trend line to be valid. So I will do a brief description of what I said. We had that already on the chart. So I showed you that the market sometimes moves this way in a sideways direction. So how it's not only resistance and support, we also have trend lines. So for you to be able to know when the market is moving sideways, like what we have here, something like this, you need to use your trend line to place alongside. And I told you for your trend line to be valid, you need to have at least 1 to 2 touches on the trend line. So now what's the work of this trend line? One of the trend line is simply as your support, is acting as your support, and the next is acting as your resistance. So this is now, since your support is always, your down part where the market spikes up or moves to the upside. So this becomes the support trend line. This becomes support trend line. And this part here, it's your resistance. So this becomes your resistance trend line. So what is the work of the trend line? That means we can take a buy entry anytime the market hits the line. We can look out for reaction of either the market moving to the upside or the market violating that trend line. So we'll learn how to also follow what we have analyzed, because when you get into this, you discover it's not as straight. So it's not just putting the line and then, or putting support and then you think the market will always move straight. You need to, one thing about Forex is after doing your technicals, the next thing is to watch when the market finally plays out to where your analysis is, your setups are. You have to watch it. You ask yourself, is it going to be violated or will that be respected? So two things are always in place. If it's violated, you discard the setup. Don't force the market to go the direction, or don't force the market to buy because you think that there's supposed to be a support or a trend line or one or two things. So that was the point. All right, so I will take this again before we move on to the next thing today. So I'll do that on our charts, MP4 chart, so we can, if we did not get it the last time, we could as well follow along. It seems my chat was still open. Yeah, yeah. I still have my chat open. So I just to share my screen. So let me share my screen. Okay, this was what we did on Saturday or which day, I don't know. I picked a pair. This was USD CAD, which I showed you on the 4 hour. So much later, I'll still go in details or in depth to explain this time frame so you really understand. Okay. So how the time frame works is just simply like if you go to a calendar, you have a calendar for 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. If you pick any of the year calendar, you could, on a straight row, have all the 12 months, all the dates playing out. For example, if you want to still look for 2012 calendar, that year you could get all the 12 months, the dates and all of that. I am repeating the lecture, so I don't know why I have to send the lecture again. I mean the video. I'm not even going into today's topic, so it's something we treated last time. I'm still trying to revisit. So how do we draw a trend line? Let me pick another pair of interest. All right, we have NZD-USD. I think we have not done anything here. So we have 1 hour time frame and we have daily time frame. I'd explain about your time frame. It's very easy here. Tap on your MT4. You need to take some time and study how this time frame you are switching in between, how they help. Because if I put 1 minute time frame, you see that you see less and see more activities. So if I put the 1 hour time frame, it's still showing you in details of the chart. But on the range of the 4 hour to daily, we see more activities in display. So this is NZD USD. So at most, we want to see if there is any movement that is sideways. So I'm going to pick my line tools here. So the trend line tools, and I am going to place this here. For now, I just have this here, but let me do the adjustments. But it's more likely we have the market moving sideways from this direction more, because I should be able to capture at least 2 touches from this point. So I have a touch here and I have another touch here also. So what happens now is when you draw a trend line, for now, the trend line doesn't look like it's perfect because I only have one of the candle wick touching the end of the line. But what we need to do now is we simply watch what's going to happen at this point. When price hits this line, we watch if it's going to be violated or it's going to be respected. So we watch what happens as price makes its way to this point as a point of interest. That line, since we have a touch here, this is moving sideways in correlation or in relation to this. So we're expecting there could probably be a reaction if price hits that line. Could have a reaction to either the could have a reaction to the downside once we have price hitting that line, or we expect price to push upwards. So we could have a reaction to this level if that trend line is correct. So that's how to work with the trend line. So I'll pick another two and we look at this from this direction. How did I get here? Sorry. So let me pick USD CHF. This is a market I'm supposed to have traded today. So right here, I'm seeing that the market has violated the trend line. There's a violation there. So we could be looking at this market dropping further. So if I also place a trend line to this other direction, we also should have but let me switch the time frame. Someone's sound is on and that is affecting me here. So let me put it on the daily time frame so we can have a good look here. So this has been the trend line from the daily time frame. So like here, price failed to move upward again, and we just have the market acting on that side. So for now, if I place this in accordance or in line with what the candles, with what the market is doing, you discover that we are having the trend line violated. So here the market goes to this point, hits the trend line, that's a resistant trend line, and we had a sell here. And over here, you could see that the market has had this pullback in this format. So, but right now, so the trend line is not really having a specific direction. So, but at least once we know that price has closed outside this defined track, we probably will be expecting or looking at the trend line has been violated. And so that is that. So that is it. All right, I'll pick one pair again and let's work on that trend line stuff. Oh, wow, I didn't even trade today. So this is USD JPY. So what I see here on the daily time frame, I have market in this direction, and also I'm using the daily time frame. So you could use any of the time frame that will show you more details of your chart. So that is just why you see me. I am switching in between those time frame because sometimes I want to get it. There's a structure I want to get from a higher range. So we can see this. So this is selling. It didn't touch this trend line this time around, but it started selling from there. This USD JPY. I'm using daily time frame to do this trend line stuff. Also, if we notice at this place, we also had price moving this way, and also something like this. So that's that about the trend line. Let's get into something else today. Do you have question? If you have question, you can. I can leave the floor open for you to ask question. Question.
Okay, I think the last time you said for a trend line to be valid, it must have at least, is it 2 to 3 touches?
Yeah.
So please, can you explain more on that?
I said for the trend line to be valid. Let me take off what I drew here. The trend line the line I placed here. This is it. Now I make sure I have to be sure that I have a touch. When you see your candlestick, this is called candlestick. At the end or at the edge of the candle, should be able to at least sit on your trend line like something, either the body or the candle must be touching the line. So if you are able to draw the line perfectly, that you have up to 2 to 3 candle aligning on the trend line, then know that that trend line is valid. So it's going to be respected by the market. That's what I meant. I'd already drawn the trend line. I'm only showing you this. At most, you can do this until you are now perfect. So you do this to indicate that yes, you are sure that the candles there is lining up with the trend line, because from here and here we have 2 touches, and we saw that the market dropped massively. As it pushes to that trend line, there's always a massive drop. So this one price could not play out to that place, and that is it. So the trend started here, but what you have to know, the trend line is not always, if you can't capture 2 to 3, but at least 2 valid ones, like this place here, you will see that price tried to like violate the trend line or something, but it's not. We rather had a correction. When we say correction, is simply price getting to a particular zone, and then it does as if it wants to violate it, and then it's just a manipulation that happens there, and you have price correcting its way back to the trend line. It's as if it's going out of the zone completely, but rather it's just a manipulation there, and then you find price coming back to the same channel again. So if we had drawn a straight line, you see that most of these prices were pushing outside the trend line before they now come back to the end, to the channel. Price later bit return to the channel the way it's supposed to be. I should believe you had understand, but nevertheless, I do the last one. So let me add some pairs here. Let me put NAS 100. Okay, so this is NAS 100. What I want is to look at what is happening here. At most, I want to see that I have this line placed together to give me some valid touches here. So this was a support trend line that price was following. Anytime it wedges on this trend line, it buys. Anytime price comes here, it buys. Anytime it gets here, it buys. But we discovered that 1, 2, 3, or the fourth time when price came there again, it violated the zone. It broke out and started going downward more. That means the trend line was not valid again, because as price keep hitting on a particular zone, as it does that repeatedly, the next time price makes its way there, it's likely going to what, make that zone to be invalid, because you are going to have more buy pressure coming there, and that is that. So this is for now. So right now, as the market is coming back to the trend line, we will be expecting it to use it as a sort of resistance. It has to struggle to climb the trend line, but that is for another day lecture, so you don't get confused. Is there any other question? Do you have any other question?
Okay, my question is, I'm looking at this thing as if, so, or rather, my question is there like a correct strategy to analyze this market? Because now, going by this trend line just drew now, I spotted these 3 valid points. After spotting 3 valid points, it still violated the valid point. So if someone will predict that, okay, if he hits this trend line, it will still go up. I want to place a buy now. I now violated it downwards again. You see, it's not a perfect strategy. So what I'm asking, is there any way to coin out a perfect strategy?
There is not a holy grail or something. There is no strategy that works 100%. You get. So, but as we forge ahead, you will learn how to pick out important zones. We call those points of interest. You'll learn where the market can move in your direction up to 100 to 200 pips. So rather than looking for zone that the market will always be taking your orders out, in and out, we show you where you should be paying attention to, where the market must respect it. And then that is where you would be looking, that's where you'll be looking out. That's what, or those are the zones you should be looking out for. And that is it. So there is no perfect strategy, Mr. Man. Yes, but we said the market itself is the teacher. So whatever you analyze or whatever I showed to you, I had sent some analysis today. That is on the technical aspects, what I felt the market should do, but I am not the market maker. So however, I watch out to see if the market will play out or the market gets there and will violate the analysis. So if it gets there and it do another thing where my analysis say buy, selling, then I have to wait. And that is just it. I don't know if you're understanding me. First, you have to be very observant. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You analyze, you observe, you wait, you watch, you take action if the market is doing what your analysis is saying. Yeah, the trend line, I just explained to you that especially trend lines, they are bound to be corrected. What I mean by corrected is that the next time the market comes, it comes with more pressure into that zone. So as it comes with more pressure, it first of all approaches the zone like it's wanting to violate it. But those are strategies by the market makers to like most of these newbies that are not grounded, so that it confuses you like the market has violated that zone, and then the next time the market corrects itself. So we call that correction. I've told you that when the market tries to like move out of a zone, but instead of the market to continue in a direction it has started a channel, it didn't, and later started retracing back into the channel. We call that correction. So many times trend lines will have correction in them. As long as it's trend line, you have so many corrections, like price retracing back into the trend line and stuff like that. I hope you understand. I have 10 minutes. Do you understand? Hello? Mr. Chudi, do you understand? Or barrister? I'm going to send another link. Let me end this one and resend another link. saw it and went away. Yeah. Mhm. Who's teaching now?